Okay, next we're going to prepare to install our elevator servos. And if you notice, I made 4 little dots, and you can see the outline of where the servo will go on the right side here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just make a little cut right here, incision right there, come along up to this next one, and then come over here to this one here and cut it right back to that little dot. Come along the top here, do the same thing. Just kind of don't go up too high, just stay right on the imaginary line that you have there. And then I'm going to come around the other side. You won't be able to, I'm going to block the camera view for a second here because I want to get a better angle. But I'm going to come in right at the dot, and I'm going to come across right up to that next dot. And then just peel it back up, do a nice little clean cut there, and don't go down inside. And I'm going to get my forceps to reach in there, so I'm going to turn this off, get that little piece that's hanging in there. I got a hanging chad. Okay, what I'm going to do is I made a little incision at a diagonal up to the corner. You can see your corner right up here, so I'm going to come in and make another cut. Come right up to my corner up there, like that. Another corner here. And that way I'm going to just peel these down like this, all around each side. So that way you got a nice clean look all the way through each one of the sides before you make your drill for your holes for your servo mounts. And I just kind of take my fingernail, come along, push it in there, and then I'm going to get my little handy little foot iron and come in here and just iron these back to where they come in nice and even. So I'll get back in a minute and I'll show you that. Okay, I got my little foot iron here, and what I'm going to do is push down right here at the corner and take my little iron and just tack it right there. Do another one there, push down, push another one. Come on, stay down there. I've got it on high. If you can see there, I got it on high, so hopefully it's enough to tack it in there, and just keep running it back and forth. And there, I think we got a good seal on it. I'm going to go around to each one of these and seal in this and make our nice even seals on the corners, and I'll be back in a second. Okay, you can see now I got all the sides all nice and sealed in there, and we're ready to kind of flip it over and do the same for the other side, for the other servo. So what we did here, you're going to do on the other side, and then we'll start pulling our wires and doing our servo connections, and that'll be the next thing that we look at, okay? Okay, we're going to get ready to mount our elevator servos. You take your servo, make sure that the label is towards the front of the plane. There's a tube inside the Raven. Let's see if I can get it in here. Somewhere in there. Nope, too far. Okay, right there. You can just barely see the tube in the upper right hand corner of the screen. That's there. You can run your servo wires down through it. And let's see if we can get it here in the picture here. Let's see, it's right. I'm gonna have to turn this thing to such an angle. We try to get it inside there. Let's see. Anyway, there's a tube that comes right down inside there. Anyway, it comes right back up where you're going to have your receiver. So anyway, servo leads and connections, everything, you're going to come in here, and I'm going to position the camera here and come back down to where we are. Okay. All right, so what I've already done, but I'm going to go ahead and go through it again, is you'll take your servo, you have your label pointing towards the front of the plane, and then slip your servo leads into the tube, but we're not going to do that right now. You can do that on your own, you know, basically. And then you have your servo extensions you'll put in there, and you'll shove them on through, and then you come down to this part, and then you come in here, and before I did all that, I set the servo in here. I took a Sharpie, and just right here where the mounts are, where the screws will go in, I've made 4 little dots. And what I do, it's like pre-drilling so you don't slip and go off course here. What I do is I take just a little T-pin, and I'll put it right there in the middle of the hole and just wiggle it around a little bit. Give us a little bit of a pre-drill hole there for the drill to go into, and just do the same with this one. Just kind of work it around, go back and forth, and then after you drill this, you're going to put some, it says to put in heavy CA. I put in medium CA. It works just as good to tighten up the screw holes. And then I come in right here, do the same, get in the center of your little black dot, work it around. Be careful, because sometimes you can even slip through because the plywoods are so thin. And I come in here and the same thing. Just kind of work it around, coming back in there. There, when we got all 4 holes. So now I take my little drill, come in here, set this first one. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in, take some CA and put on each one of these. But first what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a screw, and I'm going to come in and basically pre-thread it. This is where you got to be careful. You slip and you'll go off and you'll go right through the covering. So I'm going to come in here. I'm going to take a screw, is basically the size that we're going to be using here for the mount, and I'm going to screw that thing all the way through, get it kind of threaded is what I'm doing, and just pre-thread it, come back out, just basically do the same thing on all 4 of the holes, and then put your CA in there and let it set and do both sides. Okay, we got the holes all prepped. I've got my servo lead right here. I've identified it with on my label maker with a right aileron, elevator. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to feed it through that tube that I was showing you earlier that's right down inside here. And then we're going to take the screws and we're going to mount the servo here in place. So all these have been pre-threaded with the an alternate screw, not the ones we're going to be using because we don't want to tear the heads up. And we're going to shove this thing down in there and then tighten everything down. And we've got the nice tube coming right in through there. Now I'm not going to really secure this one down yet because I want to set the other one. I want to be able to have this one open so that I can take the other wire from the other side and pull it in. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tape this in here for now until I can reset the other servo from the other side, and I'm going to feed it down through the tube also at the same time before I screw everything in. So basically we've got about 6-8 inches of extra servo lead here, so we got plenty to be able to design and put our receiver in and anything else that we're going to be attaching to that. So for right now I'm going to leave it like this, and we're going to come back to the other side, tape this in, and then we'll get back to you in just a little bit. Okay, what I've done is I've taken the two servo leads, I've identified them with my labels, so I'm not worried about when I get down to the other end, and I've taped them together, and I'm going to take and shove them down the tube all the way through. I tried to do them separate, doesn't work. So tape them together, push them on down, get them to where the locking pieces that lock the leads together, come back around over here and see if they're there. They're not quite through yet, and so you shove a little more, and here they come. So we'll pull them on in here and get them all situated. I've got my servo taped on here on this side, and I got it taped on the other side. So once I get all these set, all I got to do now is just come back over here and take the tape off. Be very careful again. You don't want to pull off the covering on your plane. And take your tape and set it aside. Again, find another easy piece to peel up. This tape is just great for these airplanes because it doesn't stick so hard. It sticks enough, but it doesn't stick so hard that it pulls off the covering. So then take my servo, set it in here like this, and I'm pretty well set to go, except for I got to put in my little cushions here from the kit. So I'll put those in and we'll be back and we'll screw them all in, and I'll show you what we got when we're done. Okay, in the manual it says to put a little bit of CA on them. What I did is I've got some green Loctite. I just put that on there, and what I'm going to do is just put it on down in through here just to lock it into the hole. And I'm going to do, that's kind of like a lubricant too as you first do it. Screw them on down until you hit the top of that little brass support, squish just a little, and then go on to your next one. So that's basically what I'm going to do for each one of these. I'm going to put a little bit of the green Loctite on it, and you can use whatever you want. You can do what they say, use CA, whatever, just as long as you have something to lock them in there, and the glue would bind to the threads. So anyway, that's that for that one, and I'm going to do the same for the other side, and then we'll start on putting on our elevators and our control linkage. All right, so see you on the flip side.